everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Leslie and I cannot believe we are halfway through 2025. So it is July right now, which means we just passed the 6-month mark for 2025. So I thought it might be a good idea to take a look at all of my finances for the year and my spending categories and see how I'm doing. So I'm going to look at the total and then the average cost for each month. I am going to compare this to my 2024 numbers, but the only thing is that my spending categories were a little bit different in 2024. That was my first year that I tracked my budget through the whole year. So I was kind of trying to figure out what I needed my categories to be in the first place. So it's a little different, but the big categories like groceries and things like that, it'll be pretty easy to compare. So let's get started, and I am so excited to see how I'm doing. I'm a little nervous because I don't know exactly where I stand, especially in comparison to last year. But yeah, let's get started. And if you like this video, as far as following my budget, I do a budget with me series. So I put out one video a month that just shows my spending from the previous month and then my projected expenses for the next month. Okay, so the first category and the one that I'm actually most curious about is groceries. So for this year, I've spent an average of $648, basically $649 on groceries. So, I mean, I guess that's not bad. I do separate out the paper goods and cleaning products and stuff like that. So this is just food. And last year, I also did it the same way where I separated paper goods, and my average was about $780 a month. So I'm actually saving over $100 a month on groceries this year. So that is really cool. And I didn't track my dining out expenses last year, but they were also really low the same way they are this year. So it's not just that I'm offsetting things like maybe dining out more this year. It really is just saving on groceries. So that is really exciting. And also Pixel decided to grace us with her presence. So she will be wandering around probably. This poor cat. Okay, anyway. All right, so next is paper goods, which would be a good one to compare. Paper goods this year, I actually spend $68 a month on paper goods and cleaning. So that's things like paper towels, toilet paper, cleaning supplies. That doesn't include my cleaning service, that's separate. So that's actually kind of high. I really don't like that number. I think that's too high. But last year, I spent about $59 on that, and so I am spending more this year than I did last year. I have no idea why. The only thing I can think of is that might be where my husband, he tended to bulk buy the paper towels and stuff sometimes. So I think I just took over more of the cost because our finances are still separate right now. So this is only what I've spent. So there's not going to be like a rent expense or utilities because he pays that part. But yeah, I think that was just where we kind of transferred to where I'm paying for all of that now, but that is still kind of high. I don't like that. So that might be something to work on. Next is gas, and this is another one where it transferred from my husband paying more of it to me. So last year we would share my car, but then this year he ended up getting a car, and so the gas for my car is all on me. So I spend almost $60 a month on gas, about $58 a month. And then last year I only spent like $15 a month because it was pretty rare that I got gas. Usually my husband paid for it. So one that kind of surprised me is that preschool has actually been cheaper so far this year. So I knew the monthly cost had decreased since last year because she went from the daycare side to the preschool side. The preschool side is less expensive than daycare just because they need a little less assistance in preschool. So it's just over $1,000, $1,037 a month, which actually isn't too bad, especially compared to some of the numbers I hear out there. And then last year we were spending about $1,200 a month, so we are saving on that, which is really cool. Personal care and toiletries. This is one that also bothers me, like the paper goods one. So I'm spending about $95 a month on personal care and toiletries. I don't like that at all. And I'm not entirely sure why, well, I think I do know why it's so high. So for one, I don't buy hair products that often. I tend to buy a whole bunch of them, like maybe twice a year. So I did just buy my second round of hair products, and that will probably last me until almost the end of the year, if not to the end of the year. and we're only at the halfway point. So that might be part of what's inflating that number. And then I also bought that Shark Flex Style hair tool. As you'll see later, my salon total for the year is actually $0. I haven't gone to the salon once this year. So that's why I went ahead and spent a little extra money on that hair tool, because it helps me get like the salon look just without having to go. So I thought it was a bit of a trade-off there. Last year I spent less. I spent about $77 a month, but I did spend on salon. So if you factor in the personal care stuff and salon from last year, it is $102, almost $103. So I am spending less this year per month if you combine those totals. So at least that's a win, but I definitely need to watch that category. Over-the-counter meds and vitamins, we're spending less. So last year was about $66 a month, and then this year it is about $54 a month. That, I don't know, I mean, we tend to be kind of consistent with that. So like we have our vitamins. I usually take magnesium. My daughter takes a multivitamin, and we do have seasonal allergies, both my daughter and I, so we do take like Claritin or whatever during the seasonal allergy times. But yeah, so that's about the same. That's not bad. Daughter's needs. So last year I spent about $130 a month on her needs. This year I have spent $90 a month, but that's about to go up a little bit because I haven't bought her school uniform stuff. So the school uniforms will definitely increase that number. Medical expenses are almost exactly the same. So this year I spent about $162. Last year it was $164. I really don't have many medical expenses outside of my insurance payment. That does include my insurance payment. I have really great insurance and it's really cheap. So it covers our whole family for $130 a month. So there's just a little bit extra that I have to pay for some random things. But yeah, I'm totally fine with that as my medical expense. Oh, and I actually skipped the daughter wants section, so I'll do that. So for my daughter's wants, so just random things like toys or whatever, this year I have actually only spent like $2 a month on daughter's wants, because there's really not that much that she wants. Last year I averaged about $35 a month on her wants. And one thing I realized is that when she gets toys, she actually doesn't play with her toys that much. I mean, she has a rotation of a few she really likes, but in general, she just wants to be outside. She likes getting books from the library. She likes coloring books and painting supplies and that sort of thing. So it's actually been really cheap this year as far as her wants. That will change because her birthday is in the second half of the year and then Christmas. So we will have an expense there that brings the total up a bit once we get to that point. Gifts. So I didn't track gifts last year, but this year it was about $29 a month. A lot of that was my husband for Father's Day. I got him this like workout equipment. It was a little expensive. So that's what's bringing that total up. So next is clothes. And this is one that I was really trying hard to not spend too much on clothes. But last year it was $248 a month, and this year so far it's been about $245. So that kind of sucks. That's another number that I wanted to keep lower, so I'm definitely gonna have to watch that category. Hobbies. So hobbies is another one that I was really trying to spend less this year. Last year I spent about $135 on hobbies last year, and then this year I've spent $98 a month, so almost $100 a month on hobbies and entertainment. And actually I just realized I separated out hobbies and entertainment this year, but I have $0 in entertainment, so I'm not even sure why I separated that. I guess just to see how much of that was in each category, and it looks like it is all hobbies. So one thing that did bring that up a lot is that I started a garden. So I was a little torn on whether to put the gardening stuff into hobbies or like home goods or something, because it is kind of like a household thing, but it is also a hobby. So I ended up just putting it all in hobbies. So that's honestly the majority of that, outside of maybe like $50 that I spent on like books or something. So yeah, that's another one to keep an eye on. But $100 a month for hobbies, especially when I'm paying $0 on entertainment, I don't think that's too bad. So I'll just keep an eye on that. But yeah, I'm not too worried about that. Pets. So pets is a weird one. Last year I spent about $25 a month on pets. And this year I've spent $77 a month on my cat. I just have the one cat, Pixel. But that's because the very first day, January 1st, she had an issue where I had to take her to the emergency vet, and that was $300. So a $300 expense really threw off my numbers for the year. But I mean, it's fine. We had the money in our savings, and I mean, I'm going to take care of her. So obviously that was something I couldn't avoid. She's generally a pretty cheap cat. So yeah, so that's fine to spend that. Home goods and decor. So this one I am spending a lot less this month, or this year rather, but some of that is because we moved last year. So there were a lot of things we needed to get for our new apartment. Like our daughter didn't have a bedroom at the old apartment. We actually shared a bedroom with her. So I had to get her a bed and a dresser and just some stuff there. So the expense was more last year. It averaged out to $347 a month. This year it is $60 a month, so much better. Usually it's just like a random kitchen gadget or just some things here or there that I need, maybe organization, something like that. Childcare, so I didn't have a separate childcare category last year, but this year I spent $33 a month on childcare, and a lot of that was related to, I think it was pretty much all related to when we got married. And then there was a week where my daughter's preschool was closed, so we had to pay my husband's sister to watch her. So that's where the childcare cost comes from. So I just realized there are actually a lot of these that I don't have the totals for from last year. Some of that is because I would change my spending categories around, so it wasn't as easy to get the totals across all of my all of the sheets in my spreadsheet. So I use a spreadsheet to do all of this. But for the year in total, I will try and see if I can manually get the totals for some more of these categories, because I really like being able to compare what I can. So this year for business expenses, so that is Etsy related, I've only spent about $12 a month on business related expenses, so that's good. So dining out this year, I average about $16 a month for dining out, and that's usually 7-Eleven snacks. That's like not even food. So every week when we do laundry, we usually stop by 7-Eleven, get some coffee, get a snack for our daughter, just a few little treats, and it's always really cheap. So, so yeah, only like $15 a month. That's awesome. Okay, so car maintenance. This is the big one, because at the beginning of the year, I did have a car accident and we ended up having to pay for our own repairs. So the car maintenance total actually came out to $1,000 per month for this year. So that is a lot of money, but it was a very extenuating circumstance. It was something you obviously aren't dealing with all the time, and something I had never dealt with. So I've never had to pay that much in car repairs. So yeah, that sucked. But yeah, that's the average for this year. Vacation is another one. We didn't have a vacation expense last year, I don't think. But I've averaged $110 a month for vacation. That is all from one vacation, and it was our honeymoon just for a few days. So yeah, not bad. Electronics is one there is a big difference from last year also. So electronics, I average $15 a month on electronics, and it's usually something totally random like a charger cord, or I think I put batteries in that category, so something like that. Last year I spent $150 a month on electronics, but I did get a few big things. So we got a new TV that actually wasn't that expensive. I got a Blu-ray player because we were tired of having so many streaming services. I went ahead and just got a Blu-ray player so we could rent things from the library for free. I got a Kindle that also wasn't super expensive, but I guess this stuff just kind of adds up. And like I said, when we moved, there were just some things we needed during the move. So yeah, I did spend a lot on electronics last year. Okay, so insurance and registrations, I spent $229 a month on insurance and registration. So most of that is going to be my car insurance, and then just a few. Actually, I think it's pretty much all car insurance except for maybe a couple of registration related fees. Gym and house cleaner is also a new category, and that's about $223 a month. So it's exactly what it sounds like, my gym membership plus our house cleaner. And then work. So this is a weird one where work expenses this year, I've only spent about $1 a month. I bought literally one purchase for work, and that was some magnets to use to hang up some papers on my desk. And then last year, I spent $54 a month on work-related expenses. Like, how did I even spend that much? That is so crazy. So I did buy a standing desk for work. It's like one of those you put on top of your desk and it lifts up. But we ended up moving offices and we all have standing desks at the new office. But I do use that one in my home office because I work from home once a week. So that definitely didn't go to waste. I did have to buy a couple of things to make my chair more ergonomic. So my home chair, I bought the lumbar support. My work chair, I bought it's like a cushion you sit on. It helps with like tailbone pain and stuff. Oh, I bought a mouse. I had to buy a new mouse. So yeah, there were just some random things. Oh, and I bought a backpack to take my laptop back and forth from the office. I guess that stuff does just kind of add up. But yeah, at least I don't have that this year. Miscellaneous is $30 a month. And miscellaneous really is just totally random stuff. I know I have one parking ticket in there for miscellaneous, and then like I literally don't know what else. It's just so random. I think I put my marriage license under miscellaneous. I can't remember, but yeah, just random stuff. Laundry isn't bad at all, $22 a month, and my husband and I kind of go back and forth with who pays for laundry. It's pretty much 50-50 on that, just whoever happens to be there. Okay, so the next one is going to be subscriptions, and this one, subscriptions are kind of a mixed bag here. So a lot of them are once, but also I have an Adobe subscription for Acrobat. And I use that one for my Etsy shop where I sell embroidery patterns and I make PDFs. And I know there are some free PDF makers, but it is just so much easier to use Acrobat. Just the interface is so much easier for me, and some of the options that you have. That's one of those that I have to have that one just for ease of use. And then I also subscribe to Canva because my thumbnails for these videos, it's a lot easier to make them in Canva, and things like the background remover and stuff like that, I do have to pay this subscription. So for now, I do have a Canva subscription. There's also, I did buy a year Microsoft Office subscription, and I'm kicking myself for that because I'm so mad that I paid for that, because now I just use like Google Sheets instead of Excel, and then Microsoft Word, I hardly use that at all anymore. I used to use PowerPoint sometimes to make like worksheets and things, but I don't even use that anymore. So I just wasted my money for the entire year of Office. I'm so mad, but at least I know to just let that subscription go for next year. And then I pay for a little bit of storage mostly for these videos actually. So I make these videos on my phone, and it's just a lot easier to add some Google storage just so I can do everything on my phone. I guess I could technically buy like an external hard drive or something, but it's just way more convenient to have that Google storage, so I do pay for that. Subscription services, we do Hulu. My husband does Netflix, so that's on him. He does that more for his sister because she watches our daughter so much. And actually, I do have a Spotify subscription that I do for her just for the same reason, just to give her something a little extra. And I do Audible sometimes. I tend to pause my Audible subscription a lot, so Audible's a little off and on. And then I have HP Ink, which is so annoying that I have to have HP Ink, but it is what it is. And it's honestly really cheap. It's only like a few dollars a month, but you shouldn't have to pay a few dollars a month to have a printer service. So yeah, that sucks. But anyway, that's the total subscriptions. So it's actually not too many once. There's a lot of needs thrown in there, especially for business related stuff. So I'm not sure how much cheaper I can go on my subscriptions. That's probably about the best I can do. Because we did get rid of a few already. We got rid of Max. We got rid of Disney Plus. Although my mom paid for a month for Disney Plus for us, and my daughter is so into Disney Plus where we might have to get that again. I don't know. Maybe we'll do this month and then get it again closer to Christmas so we can watch all the Christmas stuff on there. But yeah, anyway, I guess that's it for subscriptions. Some of that is just me trying to figure out what I want to do there because I hate having to pay subscriptions, but That's life in 2025, right? Okay, so the next ones have to do with savings, which I am really excited about savings because I have managed to save almost $700 a month towards retirement, and that is not including the company match. So I'm doing really great with retirement savings, and I'm just so proud of myself because I only started saving for retirement since I got this job like a year and a half ago. And I think I just started saving for retirement within the past year because you had to wait like 6 months. So that's a year worth of retirement savings where I'm able to save that much. So that is really cool. I love that. And then on top of that, for my actual savings account, I have managed to save $1,155. So over $1,000 a month I'm putting into my savings account. Now, there is a bit of a caveat with that. I feel like I'm cheating because where we got married, we did get some money for being married. So there is a little bit extra that I was able to put into savings where we got some extra money this year, but I did put it into savings instead of spending it. So I would say that's a win. And as far as like savings and retirement stuff that I had saved last year, I'm going to have to look into that later for the year-end summary because I didn't get a breakdown of what my averages were or anything because I don't think I did that at the end of the year I think I did. I'm just going to look into that later. But anyway, so I was curious what my needs, wants, and savings percentages were for this year. So far, and I'll put a graph up on screen. So for the month, my average needs are about $3,600. Average wants is about $900, so way less. And then average savings is $1,800, so twice what my wants spending is. So that's really nice. And then that total, if you add up that total, it is a lot more than what I make in a year. So yeah, if you add up that total, it is a lot more than what I make in a year, but that's because of some of that extra money I got for getting married. And then like with the car repair I had at the beginning of the year, my husband gave me some money because he was chipping in on the repairs. So that was some income that I had, and then I spent it on the car repairs. So I think those numbers would lead me to have like a $76,000 a year salary, and I do not have a salary quite that high. So there's probably an extra like 10 grand thrown in there just from between wedding money and then money from my husband for car repairs, and then just a few other just random things. So that's what I have so far, and I'm just so excited to see where that goes. And as far as the chart and the percentages, so my needs is 57%, which is a little bit high. I want to keep it under 50% of my income, but like I said with the car repairs, that was a huge chunk of that needs. So I think that's the reason why my needs are so high. Savings is almost 29%. So that is so close to 30% just going to savings, which is amazing. I'm so proud of myself. And then wants is about 14%, which is pretty low. So even though I was complaining about things like my personal care cost, my hobbies costs and things like that, it's in the grand scheme of my income, it is actually a really low percentage of my income. So I should probably just chill on that. But I just want to be saving as much as I can right now because I just want to have that emergency money, and I want to have money that's getting interest. I really want to have stuff in savings. So the one thing that really sucks is I do have quite a bit of student loan debt. It's not quite 40 grand. I think it's, I'll have to check the exact number. I think it's like 36 grand that I'm going to have to pay off in student loans. And then my student loans will start accruing interest again within the next month. Actually, I think August 1st. It's the same as anyone else if you're on the SAVE plan. But anyway, that's something I'm going to have to start making a priority. So I was really trying to do as much saving as I could just because I'll have to start putting more money towards my debt now. So I wanted to have a nice cushion there before I have to start paying on my debt. So moving forward, I probably will be saving a bit less just because I'll be trying to pay off my debt more. But you'll hear more about that in the Budget With Me videos and definitely at the end of the year recap. But yeah, thank you for being here. Everyone who watches my budget with me videos, I really appreciate you guys. Let me know how things are going for you. And what do you think about my numbers here? Do they seem reasonable to you? Because I don't know. I think I definitely save more than most people, but man, that needs number really sucks. But yeah, drop me a comment and a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.